It was a staple of 90s radio, on constant replay on Rage.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left.
Gangsta's Paradise secured Coolio's place in music history.
When I entered into this, I didn't do it for fame or for money or awards. I rap because I love to rap, and if rap didn't pay, I rap for free.
The 95 hit was the biggest song of the year in America and was #1 in Australia for 13 weeks, an ARIA record he held until 2017.
Gangsta Paradise was this entity, right? It was in the biosphere, and it was looking for a way to come to Earth. And it had to choose somebody to come to the airwaves through somebody, and it chose me.
Chose the right guy.
Yeah.
Chose the right guy.
Yeah. And it won him a Grammy for Best Solo Rap Performance.
Lets me know that we've been doing something good, we did something right.
Coolio's shared the stage with some of the greats, including Stevie Wonder, whose song Pastime Paradise he sampled. He went on to record 8 studio albums, dabbled in acting,
100% foolproof, waterproof, can't stay awake proof,
and was the original gangster cook.
We gonna cook some finger licking, rib sticking, fall off the bone and into your mouth chicken.
You too can become a kitchen pimp.
Throughout the late 90s and early 2000s, he had several run-ins with the law.
This is your second day now in front of a German court. How do you feel the case is going for you at the moment?
I don't know. You can't really say for
These questions, normally I have to answer, okay?
But despite this, he never stopped working, touring the world and visiting us here in Australia, and just last week, performing in Chicago. Today, it's reported he was found unresponsive after suffering a suspected cardiac arrest at a friend's home in Los Angeles. He was 59 years old.
Well, MC Bliss from Bliss and Esso, Jonathan Notley, toured with him earlier this year. He joins us now. Jonathan, thank you for your time. I know it's been such a difficult day. You would have got to know Coolio beyond what the public saw. Just what was he like?
Man, I mean, he was just an absolute icon of hip-hop, Like, you think about Gangsta's Paradise, it's one of the most iconic special songs of the history of music, really. I remember when it came out as a teenager, I was in America growing up there, and it was literally the biggest song in the world. You know how songs have like that nostalgia that brings you back to a moment? For me, it was like just getting the license and home, with my homie Brian rolling around in his Camry to this new thing called gangster rap. And it was like this rebellious period. It was like, that's what it always brings me back to. And literally that song was the biggest song in the world. Like, it was before the internet, and it was this thing, but when superstars were superstars, and Coolio was just on a different level. So, that's how I always think of that song. And then, obviously later I got to meet him, and all those years later, you fast forward, and just a few months ago, I was literally on stage with him, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to hear the news today.
There was some pretty dark material in that song. Did that reflect what Coolio was dealing with, do you think?
Yeah, I think, he, came obviously from a very different place than here, and was dealing with different issues and, being from a whole different world. And I think even that song is as dark, there's dark parts, but there's also questions in it. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to teach me, but, how can they teach us if they don't really know what's going on, And then, of course, you got Stevie Wonder's lyrics with the whole, why are we so blind to see that the ones we hurt are you and me? So there was still that positive message in it. And he was a real positive guy, man. Like, it was amazing meeting him and getting to vibe with him and, seeing who that person was behind that mystique. Because growing up as a teenager, there's one thing, and then later on when you meet the person, it's a whole different thing. So he was a real dude, and he was really genuine, and he was a positive guy.
And what about his legacy, Jonathan? Can you see Coolio's influence in hip-hop artists today?
Oh, huge, man. Like, he's like the OG, man. Like, there's very few rappers out there that are on that Mount Rushmore, and he's on that Mount Rushmore, particularly for this song. But I mean, him at that era was like, there wasn't anyone bigger. And yeah, it's like he's definitely. I mean, he was an inspiration for me to fall in love with hip hop and come over to Australia and meet Esso on the first day of high school and form Bliss and Esso. Like he was literally a part of that responsibility. Like he took that on. So, you know, for me personally, it's a huge thing, and I think he's, you know, worldwide. He's influenced so many people. Like everyone, like literally, you put that song on, everyone in the world knows that song. It's just, it's incredible.
So what was it like when he joins Bliss and Esso on stage?
Well, first of all, like it was crazy because we were like on tour at the time, and I got a call from my friend LJ who was tour managing him, and he was like, "Yo, Coolio wants to come to the show." We're like, "What?" Like that was crazy. And he's like, "Yeah, he knows your music. He's a fan." Like that was a trip out. First of all, he even knew who we were, and we were like, "Yeah, of course, we'd love to have him." And said to Esso, I was like, "Yo, you know, maybe we should ask him. You know, do you want to like." You know, she would shout on the mic, maybe you give a wave to the crowd, say, give it up for Coolio. And they were like, why don't we just ask him, do you want to do Gangsta's Paradise? You never know if you never try, right? So we asked him, and he said, yeah. And it was like, man, you should have seen me. But before the show, I was in the hotel room playing that song on repeat, dancing around like a little kid again, like so excited. Like it was one of the most amazing moments of Bliss and Esso's career to be able to do that, bring him out as a surprise guest. And it was like totally unrehearsed. It's like, but me and Esso knew, everyone knows every lyric. The whole crowd knew every lyric. Like, you know, it's on YouTube. You can check it out. It's like, good, like just thinking about it is goosebumps. As soon as those violins come in, it's just like, man, hair raising. And like, we were doing the slide and the shimmy back and forth. And it was just this amazing moment. It's crazy.
I think those views are going to rocket up. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for your time. I know it has been such a difficult day, so condolences to you. And if you would love to see Jonathan live, you can catch Bliss and Esso at the NRL Grand Final this Sunday or later on tour this year as well. Jonathan, thank you.
Absolutely. Peace and love. Thank you.